Hello everyone, today we are back in the update 1.79 dev server and we're having a look at the XM-1 GM. Now this is the premium vehicle that you can buy through the War Thunder store. For the Americans, it is the exclusive for PC and PS4, whereas the Xbox One owners get the XM-1C. Now there are slight differences, but if you're looking for a general look at the XM-1 series of vehicles, there is, as I said, they're slightly different, but overall, if you get the C on Xbox One, this machine will be very similar. So this will set you back $50 in the Gaijin store. So here we go, let's go through it. First of all, it's a rank 5 BAS rating 9.0. This is the highest premium vehicle that we've ever had in the game, and the highest before then, I believe, was 7.7 with the likes of the Object 120 over here, and also stuff like the Magak. So overall, this is going to be the highest premium. On top of that, what do you get? Well, you get a prototype Abrams. What you get out of this machine is a tank which has the M60's gun with some good ammunition behind it. It has very good mobility. It also has a stabilizer. It has blowout doors, which is cool as hell. And as I said in the other video, we are going to be testing them later on. And it gets every type of ammo you'd want under the sun. So first of all, it gets its APF SDS, 360mm at 10 meters. So this won't go through stuff like Leopard 2A4s or Type 90s at range, and also T64Bs. But it does get access to a heat shell, which does 400mm of penetration, but it costs you 1,000 silver lions. Now remember, generally on the dev server, what will change a lot is the prices for these ammunition. You also get a HESH shell. Nobody ever uses HESH anymore. Hopefully it gets a change. And then you've got a Sabo shell, and the only real reason to use this is if you don't have 260 silver lions to spend on the APF SDS. So overall, I think the main round you're going to use is the APF SDS round with the XM-1 GM. With help of the Heat FS if you're struggling to penetrate stuff. But the only things that you should struggle to penetrate are some of the T64s, parts of the T62M, and if you get up tiered into stuff like Leopard 2A4, Type 90, or even the Challenger or the Abrams. What will happen then is, even if you have your Heat FS shell, it's not really going to do a lot. So it's still much better to use the APF SDS, which has a much higher velocity of 1500 meters per second. And remember that with this vehicle, you're going to be getting into a lot of large maps, European province, fields of Poland, Fulda Gap. So you're going to want that muzzle velocity over distances to be able to be more accurate. Now, because it's a premium vehicle, you get all of the modifications unlocked for free as you start out, so you don't have to worry about that. The key ones, though, are obviously the APF SDS, the engine, and the rangefinder, so don't ever uninstall them. That's a bad idea. If we look at general lineup for the XM1, at 9.0, you basically have to, if you want it to be top tier, then you can run it with two other MBTs, the MBT-70 and of course the XM-803. You can also run it with the Vulcan, the M60A2, the Rise. There's plenty of options, luckily, and of course, because it's at 9.0, that means that you can throw in jets, the FJ4B, the new one, or something like the F2 Sabre if you feel like it. Overall, with this machine, you can put a really nice lineup around it at 9.0. Now, for me personally, it's going to be interesting to see if it stays at 9.0 or if it goes up to 9.3. I think if it gets down tiered a lot, it'll go into 9.0, but because of the Abrams with its limit of 4 on it, I think a lot of the time what will happen to it instead is it will actually get up tiered. So what we have is a 50 cal on top, so 12.7mm M85. We also have a 7.62 M60D over here, and we also have a coaxial gun, which is sat right here. The armor values of it, 265 on the upper glacis for kinetic and 300 for chemical, and then 240, 240 each. Then you have 280, 540. So the armor on this is not very good for a 9.0 vehicle. If you want to compare it to another 9.0 vehicle that just got released, the T62M is another 9.0 vehicle with composite armor on it. 320, 450, 400, 500, So yeah, you can see that compared to even that, its armor is not very good and it's not going to stop a lot. So you're really going to have to use this thing very similar to how you would use a Leopard 2K or how you would use something which has an okay gun on it, but doesn't have the armor to back it up. Mobility is going to be your strong point. Now, we tested it earlier with the Abrams, and this thing was able to accelerate at the same time as the Abrams. The Abrams kept up with it. The only time that the XM-1 started speeding away was when the top speed came involved. We also tested something, we also tested its blowout racks at the back, or its, blowout doors, and it does actually have blowout doors in the back, which is really cool. I think it's slightly bugged right now, because when you hit it, no matter if you do it like a 90 degree over here or over here, the engine will still set on fire. So what I think they've done is they've given it the old Abrams model for now, but because it's the dev server, I believe that will change with time. 1521 horsepower engine, very similar to the Leopard 2A4, and the ready rack in itself, which is here, has a bunch of ammunition in it, and also the racks at the back, 4, 8, 12, you're looking at 24 rounds. If this gets pierced and, you hit the ammunition, of course the whole thing's going to go up, very similar to the same mechanic that they added recently. So 4-man crew, you're looking at the gunner, commander, and also loader. The best place to shoot this thing, if we're being honest, is right here. 280 you should be able to go through, and then what you do is you kill the gunner, commander, and then if you have enough penetration after that, you will pierce the rolled homogeneous armor, hit the ammunition, and blow up the whole tank. If you don't, you've still killed 2 of the crew out of 4, even though it can move, it can't shoot. One thing you'll also realize is this area here does not have any composite armor around it, and the breach doesn't fully cover it. So let's say you shoot here, where the vertical aim drive is, or here, you may be able to sneak the round through and kill the commander and also the gunner if you're lucky. If you have a shot at the upper glacis, you can shoot the right and kill the driver, or you can just shoot the left, hit the ammunition stowage, which is right here, but a lot of people might not take this extra ammunition, so it may be worth just shooting the right. It really depends on what the meta is of this vehicle. If a lot of people take a lot of ammo, then obviously you're going to want to shoot here. And then if we look at the lower glacis, 240, 240, most things will pen 265, or 300 millimeters of chemical at that level of 879093. This thing's just going to be a quick go-kart to go around in and make sure to try and flank and spank. Pretty much the meta of the Leopard 2K, but with a slightly worse gun. That's the way I see this. The Leopard 2K is really strong at its BR because it has the Heat FS and it has the APF SDS to back it up. It still struggles against a few vehicles, but not a lot of them. Especially, against the Abrams and the Challenger and the T-64. It has a lot of ways to counter them, and I see the same thing with the XM-1. It has ways to counter a lot of the things coming forward, and it mainly comes down to, can you get into a position in the first place, in the first 5 minutes of a battle, to be able to take advantage of what the map's looking like. Now, with that said, a lot of the time you may get caught out at the start of a battle, or someone might get there first, and you're going to have to battle it out, and you'll be able to competently with this gun. So, as I said, 3 machine guns, and also the APF SDS round. You're going to go through an IT1 without any issue. T62, also, you won't really go, you won't really have to worry about that. But the best way to describe this is a go-kart. It's not going to get hull broken, which is nice. I didn't go through the side and the back armor because it's incredibly thin, apart from the composite on the front of it, and you can't actually 50 cal the composite skirts on the front, which is nice to see. But anything like T62s, you're also going to go through. A lot of these machines are very much just going to die to the Abrams prototype. When we look at the stability of the gun, we're going 50 kilometers an hour right now, and it is hardly moving at all. So shooting on the move should be an easy thing to do, as you see here. I'm just killing everything in one shot, not really worrying about it, and there's no reason to use the Hesh shell at all in this thing. It's so much better just to use either the Heat FS or the APF SDS. As you can see with the APF SDS, it's going to go through everything like butter, and now we run into the T64A. So if we shoot it here, okay, that shot way low for some reason. So let's aim up a little bit. It obviously goes through the lower glacis. It doesn't go through the normal upper glacis. Well, it does. It actually seemed to a little bit there. But if we shoot like here, okay, so it does go through it, which is interesting to see. But I suppose it should do with the penetration it has. Those good old ERA blocks. But yeah, it's a go-kart. Like, a lot of new players, if they buy this tank straight off the bat, especially Xbox One players who have to get used to the controller, everything, they're going to be very easy bait in this thing for a while. And the reason for that is because this machine, you need to be skilled to play it. I don't know how else to say it, but if you talk to anybody who plays top tier, and when you look at something like a Leopard 2K, a Leopard 2K gets away with it because of the extreme angles of its armor sometimes, but with the XM-1, it has a higher skill ceiling than something like a T64B because of its maneuverability and because of its gun as well. So it's going to be great for people who are experienced at the game, and it's not going to be as good for people who are, you know, not as experienced in the game. It's not an easy learner machine, I think is the best way of saying it. But overall, it's still a really cool tank. I really wish it was in the tech tree instead of a premium. I would love to just fly this thing about with my XM-803 and my MBT-70. But yeah, overall, it is a good vehicle. We'll have to see when it gets to live. If they don't take the limit off the Abrams, I think we're going to see a lot of these things at 9.7, and they're going to get hammered by Type 90s and Leopards, and all kinds of other machines which they may run into. If it gets down tiered, it'll do really well. At its tier, I think it's definitely competitive in a very big way. But overall, I'd give it a thumbs up. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time.